Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, yeah, good afternoon. I call this meeting to order at 4:07 PM. Ms. Wheelwright, do we need to call the roll?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Councilmember White,
Here.
Councilmember Lara, and in place of City Manager Gibbs is Deputy City Manager Taylor.
Here.
Manager Kyle Warzinski,
Here.
Chair Rader,
Here?
Vice Chair Moran,
Here.
Member Nerschel. Member Melman stated he would be absent this evening, asked for an excusal. Member Brown. Member Lawson also asked for an excusal this evening. Member Coblin. Present. Member Rader.
Present.
Member Beneke.
Here, I'm present.
Youth Council is out of session right now, and alternate Voight. All right, thank you.
So we do have enough people for a quorum,
Yes, ma'am.
and excused absences have been discussed. Do the Pledge of Allegiance. Are there any adjustments to the agenda? Are there any conflicts of interest to the agenda?
I have one question, Madam Chair. Last month's meeting, was it just, we were just dark at that time, or was there a reason why we canceled?
I don't remember the reason for last month.
So historically, we had been dark in, I think, the month of July, and the recent changes to the guidelines for the committee removed that provision, so there is no formal dark month in the summer, but based on staff time and then lack of agenda items, we didn't have the need for the meeting last month.
Thank you. Very good.
Do we have anyone that has requested to speak?
I have no written comments. Olivia, do we have any callers on the line?
No, there are no callers on the line.
Thank you. Next, we will move on to our action items. The first action item is the approval of the minutes. If you've had time to approve the minutes, does anyone have any corrections or adjustments?
No, I'll move to approve the minutes.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Are there any noes? Thank you. That motion passes. Update on projects from the city staff. It would be Mr. Warsinski.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. So quick updates. As you know, the Beaumont Eats and Treats program, the Passport to Downtown Beaumont, has been completed. We raffled off the 65-inch TV and various gift cards that were purchased, and one was actually donated by one of the participating locations. Went fairly well. We received a decent amount of people that submitted that. The mayor has a video in which he did the raffle. So if you didn't get to see that drawing, we can point you in the right direction on our YouTube where it's been posted or on social media. Daniel and I are currently in the process of doing follow-up interviews with each of the restaurants to kind of get their feel about how they thought it went, if they'd be interested in participating in the same program or a different program with some slight modifications in the future. So once we conclude those interviews, we'll bring back kind of the results. We're also using our data software to show them the difference between customers during that actual period of the program or 6 months prior or even the prior year in terms of what their average foot traffic looks like. So instead of just guessing kind of what it is, we're able to kind of show them what real numbers look like for the program as well. And then a quick update on the different incentive programs that council has authorized in the funding. To date, we've received 17 total applications for various programs. We received 4 this week, not like this from Monday to today, but within the last 7 days, we've received 4 applications. And speaking with some of the business owners, we anticipate maybe 1 or 2 more in the next week or so. We have one that is nearing the finish line in terms of going through the entire process, getting the bids, getting the construction documents, and then working on their funding agreement, which will be brought to council as soon as we can. So we'll see how that one goes. But we're excited about the interest in the program thus far. And if you know anyone that has something in the downtown, whether they're a property owner, a business owner, or someone that's looking at potentially opening a business within the downtown, have them give us a call, and then we can explain the different incentive programs that council has authorized within that area. And that concludes the updates for me. Deputy Taylor, I don't know if you have anything to add, or?
Chair, I have a couple questions for Kyle. 2 questions. How do you know, how can you show the foot traffic stats? I mean, how do we gather that?
So we use a system called Placer AI, and it uses cell phone data. And it's the same process we use for the major retailers, in which if someone has one of the various apps on their phone and their little navigation feature is turned on, whether they know it or not, it tracks where they go.
Okay,
So if they enter a geo-fenced area that we create for the small ones, it tracks if they go into that geo-fence, and then it eliminates people that leave it very quickly. So if they're there for 10 or 15 minutes, it's triggered that they went to that restaurant.
okay, and so I guess that's, we can go back in history and pick any day that, I mean, that's running all the time, or is it?
It is running all the time. I think there is a certain date we can't go beyond because they didn't have that system in place yet.
Okay, but other than that, it's in place. I know Retail Coach did a report on that,
Yes.
but I didn't realize it was something that's ongoing. Is it ongoing even if Retail Coach is no longer our consultant?
Retail Coach uses the same program.
Okay.
So we, at
But
the
we have
very
an independent
beginning,
program.
we were using Retail Coach exclusively to gain those reports, but I'd have to ask them for it all the time. And then we got to a point where we acquired the same rights to the software, so we can generate reports on demand for things that aren't even related to Retail Coach's contract.
Okay, and then my other questions, as we've had this program in place for for what you were talking about, the 17 applications, are you getting any feedback in ways that we need to tweak it so that there's more than just one getting near the finish line at this point? I mean, are you getting people saying, well, I can't work with that, or this kills my deal, that kind of stuff?
Yes, sir. Some of them are the requirements we've put in place for like the new business loan, so a new restaurant coming in. And as we fashioned it as a forgivable loan, the way we've produced the guidelines or the program requirements are much to do like a financial institution would do a credit analysis and a check on their credit worthiness. What else do we require? Past history of performance. If they have another location, it's like, give me your 3 years of financials and show me that you can run a business, those types of things. And I think that's been something that they weren't necessarily expecting. I think some of them are going to produce that to us. It's just not something they can produce quickly. I still think that we need it there because we need the assurance that if we fund a business going in, because that one doesn't really have strings attached to it. It's if you operate a new restaurant in the downtown, we're willing to help you with finances. It's not specific to a certain thing. So we need to kind of do our due diligence on making sure that they're not going to just take our money and go buy a car, right?
Right, but the forgivable loan offer was a much significant higher amount of money than some of the other programs, correct? It was 50 grand, something like that?
It's 50 for the fine dining, and for a regular restaurant or a bar, it would be 25,000.
Okay, and I'm just wondering, we set aside $500,000 for this?
500,000 last year and 500,000 this year.
Okay, and I'm thinking maybe it might be good to get a report back from you on some of the feedback, and that we could start looking at some of this, because if we're not able to impact new businesses at 50 grand because of all the things that come with a forgivable loan or whatever, maybe we need to rethink it and look at it more like grants, but smaller.
Yes.
You know, maybe something that, you know, a $5,000 grant that might help a business that has to spend $5,000 just to, you know, just to get started on, you know, some expenses, things like that. So,
Of course.
it's a shame that we want to give the money out, but we can't do it. We haven't been able to accomplish that yet, so.
I like that suggestion. We'll put together a feedback report for this entity, and then if you'd like, we could even bring it to council for review.
Yeah, and I think this group first, because I think we did really well in coming up with council didn't have to do much work when it got to us. You know, it was all well thought out, but yeah, I'm just thinking if there's a way to make it
For
less
certain.
of a burden.
Yeah, next meeting, we can bring that back.
Okay,
And
and
then
we-
the other major one that I think we've seen a lot is the prevailing wage requirement regarding the facade predominantly.
Okay,
And working with legal, we found a scenario in which, because that one's the dollar to dollar match up to 50,000 if the project cost is 100,000. And we found some scenarios in which other cities have done a similar program, and if the applicant can show us that that 50,000 is in materials, and they're going to be spending the other 50 of their own money on labor, they may not have to pay prevailing wages.
and why do we have to I should know this, and I've heard it before, but remind me why we have to require that they do prevailing wages?
It's a section of the labor law that states that if a nonprofit or for-profit business accepts money from a public agency, that if that dollar amount is over $1,000, then prevailing wage compliance kicks in. But that's on paying for labor, so we think we have, and we've drafted the agreement to say such, as if it's all for materials, you don't have to worry about prevailing wage. If you are gonna use it for materials and for labor, then just know the applicant's gonna be responsible for showing their compliance with prevailing wage laws. But that
Okay.
seems to be helping on some of these.
You know, just another idea. Yeah, let me think that one out more before I bring it up. Okay, thank you. That was helpful.
I had a couple questions, Kyle, if you would, Madam Chair. The first one is Pennsylvania Avenue. I don't know if this falls into where we're at. I was looking. They say it's going to be shutting down soon, completely, I think. Do you know when and for how long? And when the project's supposed to end?
Sure. I'm gonna let the deputy city manager chime in on this one, because I think I read the sign correctly, but I don't know for certain.
Well, let me get to the second question, because would be for you, and that would be, and I always ask, do we have any applications for new businesses coming to our city that you know of? I know Dutch Brothers is up and running, and hopefully that 7-Eleven is close, but other than that,
There is one for the Tacos El Checo on Beaumont Avenue that's taking the space that, what was it, Thai Air Cuisine was in.
Yeah.
The Tactical Place has vacated, and I think we believe we're gonna be seeing an application for coffee, tea lounge at that location. The owners of East Wall are thinking of redoing their menu and kind of changing the atmosphere within their building. What else that I can think of?
Is the pizza place still on?
Yes, Boston Pizza's definitely signed their lease there. They've gained planning approval and are moving forward on that one. There's some other retailers that have gone in on Sixth, like the apparel company that went in right here on the corner.
The Dickies?
Yes.
Carol or Daniel, do you guys have anything else you want to add for new businesses or what's in the hopper?
I'm sorry, I have one comment, Kyle. I'm working, thank you. I always forget to turn the mic on, sorry. I'm working with a client who has been approved to open a franchise of the revitalized Marie Callender's here in Beaumont. Approximately 3,500 square feet. Dining room, lounge, and bakery. It's earmarked tentatively to have live entertainment. So all I have to do is find a location in the city, but they want to be here and the franchisor has approved them.
Excellent. Please.
Live entertainment would require a conditional use permit, so.
No dancing, just one.
We do have a couple things in the hopper. At our next planning commission meeting, we're going to be taking the Enlightened Dog Training conditional use permit forward on California Avenue. We're also working on a conditional use permit for the cigar lounge, smoking lounge next to Craft Lounge. That'll be coming to planning commission, we anticipate, in September. Are you looking primarily for downtown businesses or just businesses in general?
In my case,
Just businesses.
doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah, just businesses in general.
I believe we've been approached by Spirit Halloween to go into the former Bed Bath & Beyond, and we have been approached by Home Goods for that site as well.
Wow.
Obviously, Spirit Halloween would be temporary and then Home Goods would come in after that, right? So,
In Pennsylvania?
yeah, so I
Is
could
that-
think.
I'm sorry. is that-
Well, we have a couple code changes that are going to be coming forth as well. So do you want to talk a little bit about ODS and just
Yes.
for their own?
Okay, so the city has been working with a consultant to create objective design standards for our single-family and multifamily zones, including zones in the downtown. Those have gone through work studies with the Planning Commission and City Council. I will have the revised document that incorporates all the comments from both of those entities. I will have that by Friday, and we're anticipating taking that back to Planning Commission at our next meeting on August 23rd. We're also looking at doing a modification to the non-conforming uses section of the municipal code, just to kind of clean it up and tighten up some language in there. We've been coming across a couple of problems, and so we just want to tighten that up because the downtown's kind of a sensitive area, and so we have a lot of non-conforming uses, and so we just want to make sure that going forward we have the tools to get the businesses in that we'd like. And then I think Deputy City Manager Taylor will be bringing forward a parking waiver to City Council.
Yeah, so we will be bringing to Planning Commission on the 23rd and then to Council following that on September 5th, a parking, temporary suspension essentially of parking standards in the downtown. This will pertain to a very small portion of the downtown, essentially just west of California to about Palm Avenue, and then from 5th Street up to about 8th Street along Beaumont Avenue. That's the area, and we've talked about this before over the last year or so, where we have a lot of the small lots with existing buildings that cannot meet current parking standards. And it's a struggle. It's a struggle to find businesses that can get in there. And then when we get a business that wants to come in, we don't want to tell them, oh no, sorry, you can't go in there because you can't meet parking. So right? We don't want to have empty buildings. And we had the parking management study done a few years ago, which did identify essentially that there's plenty of parking available in the downtown when you look at street parking and you look at some of the shared parking opportunities that are out there. So we're recommending, while we finish up the downtown revitalization plan and then while we update the zoning code, which includes, of course, parking standards, that we do a temporary suspension in that specific area of parking, requiring the parking minimums there. So we'll take it to Planning Commission, and whatever their recommendation is, bring it on to City Council, and we're hoping that that will help, along with the incentive programs and some of the other stuff that we're doing, trying to pull out all the stops to help people get in downtown and keep eliminating the barriers as we keep running into them.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks, Carol.
Pennsylvania Avenue?
Pennsylvania Avenue, all right. So Pennsylvania Avenue, there will be a closure starting August 11th, and I believe it runs through the 16th. This is actually part of the Pennsylvania project, but this is the Union Pacific portion. So they have essentially told the city they need the hard closure, this is the time they need to get done what they need to do. And so in order to facilitate the project, obviously we're having to accommodate the hard closure. We do understand timing is not the greatest on that with school starting back tomorrow and whatnot, but like I said, we're trying to be good partners, and Union Pacific needs to get done what they need to get done in order for us to keep going with our portions of Penn.
Well, I assume, looking at what we see down there with the open pits and stuff, that that's what they're going to be doing during the hard closure. And I know that one large gas station, if you want to call it, with a lot of restaurants in there, probably that's holding them up too, from what they're trying to do. So hopefully that'll get done sooner than later.
Yeah, they're working their way towards completion of what they need to do as well. They will have access even during construction if and when they complete the last of what they have to do to get open. So we're sensitive to that. Obviously, it does sort of make it a little challenging to get in and out of there until the roads are fully wide and accessible again. But we are sensitive to that, and they have been very patient, although they are getting the benefit of the road widening and that they did not have to pay to relocate the Edison lines that are on there, which is normally a really big cost to a business, but the timing and the location just happened to be right for them, that fell in line with what we were already ready to do. So I think it was a pretty good trade in that regard, at least in my opinion.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
yeah.
Thank you, Christina.
The second,
Madam Chair, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
This is the first I've heard about the closure, the 5-day closure. What can we do as a city to get the word out? Because I know a lot of people are going to be jammed. They show up at that. I mean, think about it. There's only really 3 ways to get over to the other side.
Yeah, we have had the signboards out for a couple weeks at this point now with the strategic location. So I guess it depends where you move about town. They've been on Penn. I know they've been on some of the east-west streets as well, identifying that the full closure will take place. I have not been on social media very much, but typically we also push it out on social media. So Facebook, Instagram, whatever your choice is on that should be on there. But we have had the messaging boards out as well.
Okay, well, that's good to hear because like I say, I drive that way all the time and you'd think I'd notice the signs and everything, but it's one of those things where oh yeah, they're doing some construction,
Right.
blah, blah, blah. Yeah, because it's really a nightmare sometimes to traverse this community with the way
Absolutely.
these.
Yeah, and it's a short-term pain right now for what will
Be a-
ideally be a long-term benefit to
Absolutely,
the residents. If we can make it just a little bit longer through some of this construction, we'll have a nice, beautiful 4-lane wide road to take us north and south.
Okay, thank you.
and the Second Street extension, is that coming along? It was
It
out
is.
for bid the last time I heard.
Yeah, no, it is coming along. I know their surveyors have been out there, and there have been some other folks out there, moving dirt and doing what they do. So that is trailing the Pennsylvania project, obviously, but it will be coming in. It will be coming in behind that.
And we have, 3 traffic signals coming in?
They're, they're doing first in Pennsylvania. That'll be new. The signal at Sixth and Penn will be redone, not new. There'll just be new traffic movements. And then there's other signals that are not new, but being improved as well. And I think that's First and 79, and then Sixth and Beaumont Avenue, 79, whatever you want to call this one.
So did you say we're taking the cost of those, cities taking in the cost of all that? Or some of it's being done by the railroad or?
On the signals, the city's paying for the contracts. It's a combination of various funds that fund those, impact fees and some other types of things. But there are no private parties that are paying for those beyond their fair share of those types of improvements if they've built in that neighborhood and paid impact fees last year or a couple years ago or so forth.
Yeah. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Just wanted to know if it was funded.
Any other questions? Okay. Moving on to the Downtown Revitalization Plan update.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So very brief one on this one is we were sitting in the meeting last week and the consultant, which is GHD, and I believe most of you have met them and they presented here as well, were emphasizing an inflection point in their work, and that is that a lot of the data gathering, if not most of the data gathering, numbers crunching, interviews with landowners and business owners throughout the city and the downtown, as well as business owners through the region, has been concluded. So now they're really moving towards draft mode. So they're starting to draft up mock developments within certain parts of the downtown. And they're starting to rough sketch or design some of the street segments that were the highest priority on the workshop that occurred, in which everyone voted which one they thought they'd like to see. And there was some clear preference provided by the participants on which ones those were. So the traffic team and the urban design team are currently in draft form for that. The reason I wanted to bring it to you is because we're at that inflection point, make you aware of that, and also let you know that within the next month or two, when some of those drafts are complete, is when we'll be bringing those back for another workshop or presentation to this committee.
I enjoyed their presentation and I enjoy their approach. A lot of times consultants just give you a big package and say, here you go. They have a plan, a dated plan of you should do this first, second, third, or, you know. I kind of like that because I could understand it better. Thank you. New Economic Development Department website.
All right. So this one we're excited to kind of showcase. You'll be one of the first people that see it, unless you've already found your way here in the last week or two. Because we launched it and then we've been somewhat fine tuning it. So let me know when it comes up and you can see it. So this is what the new economic development website looks like. If you want to write down the URL, it's also on the agenda, which is beaumontcabusiness.gov. And really what it's intended to do, per the Economic Development Strategic Plan, is to provide an easy to find resources for new businesses, existing businesses, and site selectors that are looking at the city. And if you go on the current city website, there's a couple different places you have to click and you have to go through multiple clicks to get to where you're at. This one is user-friendly, and it provides some information that is really targeted to those users. If you're on here looking for a concert in the park, you're probably not going to find it. That's what the city website's for. Also for major news, the city website has that. But if you're looking for programs that Riverside County offers in terms of incentives, you're going to find those here. If you're looking for state business incentives, you're going to find those here. If you're looking for available properties within the city, you can find those here. So I can run through it really quickly. Talks about why Beaumont, you guys all know because you live here. So, but it talks about kind of where we're at, and this is intended to give someone that finds this thing or is thinking about Beaumont, they want to know what the city's really about, a quick snapshot into that. From a business perspective, it's obviously tailored, all the language is tailored towards someone looking to build here, invest here, or to open a business here. You can see our advantages on living here, and then we have a section on the downtown in terms of kind of what we're trying to accomplish. Has the council's vision and the different concepts that we're pushing. Also talks about the incentive programs and has the land uses available. We have a nice success story section that we're going to be continuing to build. Upon launch, we had these two that we had on there. We were hoping to get testimonials from some of these business owners or the managers that run these facilities, and possibly even some live interviews with them that are video recorded that we can embed on the website and so forth. But this website allows us to showcase some of these businesses that we just couldn't do with the larger city website. It's like, where would you even kind of stick that on that one? So this is front and center. If someone's looking at, hey, who else is in Beaumont? Who else is working there? What has worked well within that area? They can look on here and see from their peers what has worked. So it talks about our target industries, and you guys can go on this at home. I don't need to go through all of them, but it has our data and demographics. So it has that information on here in terms of our retail trade area profile. Dan, you stuck that picture of me on there? No. He knows I would have switched to his. So we have the demographics, the retail trade area demographics, our psychographic report, and so forth.
Are those expanding or downloads? What's the down arrow?
It pops up to just the download.
Well, that's wonderful, Kyle.
And then, what else do we have? We have some business stuff. So we have resources, which if you go on here, it kind of has some of the programs that we have for existing businesses. Really just providing a quick snapshot, showing them that the city is here to help them. Rob, I threw the county on here because you guys are one of our major resources for existing businesses in terms of hiring and training and those types of things. And then we have incentives. So if you click on this one, it'll bring you up a slew of different incentive programs, some of which are local, so ones that city council have authorized. And then you can find ones at the state level. You can find some at the local level.
And I want to highlight that part is really important because we get a lot of calls on a regular basis. Hey, what can the city do to help us? Where, we want to operate, how can we, and so it's hard sometimes to explain the different avenues for help that there are, but having it as identifiable on this website specifically, they can see what the city has to offer, put the dollar value with that. They can see what the state has to offer, if the county has programs, or, ultimately at the federal level, if we ever get to that point where there's opportunities, it allows us to point people easily in the right direction.
It looks like to me also that it's a good tool, not only for business attraction, but also for residents attraction. It's easy for them to go on this website and see what's happening in Beaumont. Why would we want to move there? And you look at this information, and it's a brief enough information that it's not mind-boggling. It's pretty straightforward, and I think it's going to speak to attracting business and residents to this area. It's a good job.
And that was the intent, to kind of make it simple, not make things hard to find, make it right there, easy clicks, get you the information that you're looking for, and then providing our contact information. So the available properties tab is kind of helpful. We get this a lot is, hey, what's for sale in the city, or what is for lease in the city? The only caveat is this list is only as good as what the brokers list in the city. If there's a pocket listing, or if someone just has a for sale sign on the building, Daniel and I may know about it. But if we don't beat us up too bad if we don't know about it and it's not on the list. Just call us and we'll go put it on the list.
Yeah, you have to think about it as like a commercial Zillow. So it's pulling data on commercial properties and putting it into the, right? And then it's only as good as what we can access.
Do we have a disclaimer on there that says something like that, the data is coming from?
No, but we can put something on there just so that it's not
Contact us if, you know,
yes.
there may be ones that aren't kept, I don't know, there's gotta be a way to say,
Yeah, we can do that.
this is a good representation, but not all properties.
If you go back to the little,
Mm-hmm.
the corner of Xenia and Sixth,
Yes.
a little bit arrow to the right, up with that one,
Mm-hmm.
it's an escrow.
Mr. Copeland, is your mic on?
And the one,
We're not picking you
Sorry.
up. Okay.
see, I did it again.
Can't take care of you all the
He
time.
keeps turning it off. Anyway, that piece on the corner, 2 acres, is in escrow now, and I'm looking at the 4 acres behind it
Sure.
for something you and I've already discussed.
So you want me to take it off, is what you're saying?
No, I'm just saying it's not.
You've never had escrow
They're-
fall out,
they're-
have you?
they're-
So we we update it periodically, and unfortunately, it's not automated where it's pulling the data in live time, so it updates every hour or so. It's something that we're manually doing. So as we go through it and periodically see ones that change to that, we'll unpublish them. If they close escrow and it changes, then we'll take them off completely for the for sale or for
And as
lease.
the chairperson said, I don't know what it's like to have an escrow close. Instantly fall out. Fall out.
Yeah.
But
So that,
Is there, if I see a site there that I'm interested in, is there some kind of action that says contact, or click on here, it sends an email, call me, I'm Kyle?
we can do that. We have the listing agents on here. If we have like the listing PDF, we've put whoever the agent is, so that they will likely contact them. What we can do is also have, staff's phone number in case they have other questions related to the site. That's really a good suggestion.
Yeah, or again, if this isn't exactly what you want, you know, call us and.
Can we get your mic?
Okay. It's, I really like it so far. I'll dig into it a lot more, but I think it's really good.
So it does have, our pictures. Unfortunately, they made me put my picture on there. And then we also have council's pictures on here,
Oh, nice.
just in case people find their way to this one and they want to know who's setting policy and making the big time decisions. They're on there as well. And then a simple contact us form, which they can reach out, very simply with our direct line, send us a message, and then that automatically comes to us if they have any questions and so forth. So we're pretty excited about it. It is new, so obviously we're gonna be making some fine touches to it. Rob, I didn't see some of the county incentive programs that should be on here when I was looking, so I'll make sure that those get on there.
It's wonderful. Thank you, Kyle. It looks so good with those mountains in the background.
Any other,
Any?
and if
Yeah.
you play around with it or you see something that you think could be done better, please reach out. I love constructive criticism
Are you like gonna put this website on your business cards and, right, how are we gonna get this information out there?
We might move towards having this one on economic development's business cards. It still has the ability to go back to the city webpage from this one. City council did authorize money this year per one of the action steps in the strategic plan to do a marketing campaign.
Okay,
And what I was thinking is, I studied marketing a little bit, but I'm not a marketing expert. And I think that when we get that marketing firm on board, that's gonna help us market the city, the downtown. This inherently will be that portal, and I really want them to kind of guide the ship on how best to showcase the things that we have available using this asset that we have now.
I'm just, obviously thinking of the chamber, and if someone comes in, we can give them something that has that website on it.
We're gonna
Say,
play
you know, go
marketing
here.
people until we get them, so we'll create some news blasts and like a flyer or something like that that says, hey, if you weren't aware, this new website has been launched, please utilize it and so forth. So we will get you that.
Okay.
I just wanted to show you all it first, so that we weren't sending out flyers to everyone before the Economic Development Committee saw it.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Madam Chair, if I might chime in on that. So like Kyle said, this is the first time anybody really public has seen it, although it is live so that we can work with it and make sure that it's working and doing what we need it to do. We have yet to have the opportunity to even have council run through
This is
it.
the first I
and
know of it. being-
And so we are here. It will, council will have the opportunity as well to go through and look. In the meantime, we can get you some information or QR code or the web address or something where people can be directed, but you can also always keep, get staff, and then we can help people out with it as well. At some point, we will do a launch and a push out on that, but we want to make sure that our council has an opportunity to weigh in before we do that.
Also, as a web developer, you want to make sure the bugs are worked out in the first, before you tell the whole world, hey, come look at this website. So,
Hey, somehow on Google, the chamber is listed as Amazon today.
Well, somehow on Google, always DeForge Park is listed as City Hall. So it's, yeah.
Kyle, I have a question. I see the names as I look at this, and I'm saying, I'm an outsider, first time looking at it, coming into the city. And I see a cookie company name. This one, I don't see who the company is, but it does go to, I believe that's the Craft Lounge. And the pizza place, I don't see their name, but I see the names here, and I see the name of the next business here. Was it done? How did we pick to have names of companies or not?
It was really a decision based on countless hours of filming to get this 30-second hero video at the beginning. I mean, I can't even tell you how many hours we were out doing this just to get good
It was
shots.
phenomenal work. I
And
applaud you.
some of it has logos, some of them don't have logos. What I can say is that this is the first iteration of it. We've learned things from the countless hours we were out there the first time. One is don't go to a manufacturing place during lunch, because that doesn't work. But we're gonna continue to build our portfolio of film shots, still and video, as we continue to move forward, and then we can build upon this. It'd be great to have logos and brand recognition with all of them, but at the same token, we want people to see it and to be excited about it. I mean, the pizza looks great. They can call us, hey, what's that pizza place? Like, start that dialogue, versus, because I could superimpose a logo on there, but I don't also want to make it look kind of comical
And the
as well.
problem is there's so many places that have that product. Just like the barbecue, it might be Cornerstone Barbecue, it might be Dickey's, it might be somebody else.
Yeah,
I'm just,
no, I know what you mean. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
And then the last thing I might add is the city website isn't going to be lacking of resources. So if someone was using the city website as their portal for business resources, all of those links are still on there. It's likely just going to route them to this website. But it's not like if you go on the main city website, it's just going to be void of business resources. So we wanted to make sure that they had that redundancy, and that someone that goes on there frequently is like, wait, where's all this stuff? And they don't even know the new website's there, isn't going to feel lost.
Wonderful. It's very nice. Very good job. Thank you, Kyle. Any other questions for Kyle? Shall we move on to reports? Kyle, you do have any more reports? Mr. Beneke, do you have anything to report?
I sort of do, but maybe a conflict event here in downtown Beaumont this Saturday at Frijoles between 2 and 4.
Mr. Beneke, we gotta get your mic on. It's not gonna do any good. You might have to start over.
Okay. Yeah, my son is having a book launch event here in downtown Beaumont at Frijoles between 2 and 4 o'clock. He's an author, well, he's a civil engineer, but he's become an author over the last 6, 7 years. He's written 4 books. This is his 5th book that he's produced, and it's catching some interest from quite a bit of interest in the book. So anyway, it launched yesterday. It became available for sale yesterday, and he's having this book launch here. First ever. He's never done this before, but he's having it here in Beaumont, and he talked to people at Frijoles, and they more than welcomed him to come in because they, you know, they'll bring business. People come there. It's a meet and greet, say hi, you know, take a look at what's going on. It's just an event, and I don't know. It could become a great thing. He could become a famous author. They could make a movie out of it. Beaumont would be hopefully recognized. A lot of things could happen, but anyway, it's an event. And I thought
It's pretty impressive. What is your son's name?
his name is Jason Beneke, but his
Pen name?
book name is J. Luke Beneke, and the book is Echoes from the Bayou. Is the book that he has written. It is a very intriguing book. If you like thriller novels, not everybody likes thriller novels, but you know, it's a thriller novel.
Well,
So
great.
come by, say hi. You don't have to buy anything. They're going to have some raffle. They may raffle some books off or something. But if you do buy a book, he'll autograph it.
Congratulations.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you. Anyway.
Mr. Moran, do you have anything? Mr. Rader?
No, Madam Chair.
I pay him to say that. No, I don't pay you. Nothing. Councilman White?
No, I think I'm good.
Christina?
Great website. I think that would be an amazing marketing tool. So I appreciate that.
Christina? Thank you. Chamber has Good Morning Beaumont this Friday with Senator Rosalicia Choa-Bogue, and it is sold out. State of the City is September 28th. I have a hard stop at 250 people coming, and I'm at 217 right now. So I imagine by next week, it will be sold out.
Wow.
So I don't even know what to do with that kind of position. I've never been in it before, but that's exciting. Topics for future agendas. Does anyone, introduction to new business program and the RCTC passenger rail project are on there. Anything else?
We talked about bringing back the report on the feedback for the incentive program, so I will definitely bring that report back on the next meeting.
Thank you. Does anyone have anything else?
I was wondering if that's a great thing you put together there. I was just wondering if we're kind of beta testing it, talking about literature. We're kind of beta testing it, and maybe next month, after we've all had a look at it, we might want to bring it back just for a brief discussion to see if anybody has, an idea or maybe something they feel is lacking.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea, and I'm glad you brought that up, because this is what I do every day, create these web develop applications. And I'll have an app out there that's been out there for a year and a half, and someone will say, you misspelled a word here. And it takes me about maybe 10 minutes to fix it. So I think the same thing with all of us looking at it, and you find those little things, or you click on a button and it's not doing anything. Those kinds of things are usually just because someone left a little piece of the code out and they can go in and fix it. So I think that's why you really don't want to launch it, to everybody and have them come and see those misspellings, and you're like, okay, we just blew all of our surprise. So no, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah. At first glance, it's very impressive, so thank you.
Mr. Copeland does have some.
I do it again. I do have one announcement to make, that the San Gregorio Memorial Hospital Foundation is putting on a golf tournament at Tuckwit on October 6th and 7th. The foundation exists in case anyone doesn't know this already, to raise money for the benefit of the hospital, both specific programs as well as general. We will have celebrity professional athletes there to participate, and if you buy a certain number of tickets or enter a number of people, you can play with a professional celebrity athlete. The only one whose name I'm allowed to say is Jim Hill. But
I know who he is.
earmarked for a great opportunity and to help the hospital that serves the Pass area.
Where do you get an application to register for the event?
I will get it for you and I can email it to you or,
Okay.
sure.
Madam, oh, sorry.
I'm gonna say, I could send it out to our men's club out of Tuckwit, so,
Fantastic.
yeah, we got a couple hundred members, so.
Are they out?
No, I mean, yeah, we have them out, yes. I'm gonna drop some off tomorrow. Let me turn this off.
Madam Chair, I did think of one thing, if I may.
Yes, you may.
Thank you. The city has been doing Government in the Park days, fourth Saturday of every month. We started in June. June, we did down at the park in Seneca Springs. July, we did Wildflower Park in Sundance. In August, on August 26th, we will be at Fallen Heroes Park. This is from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Saturday morning. Lots of activities for kids and families out there. Community Services is out there with donuts and muffins and snacks, games for the kids, cornhole, all kinds of giant tic-tac-toe and ball dart throwing things and other stuff. There is someone from virtually every department that is present, so we're there to answer questions, provide information, help people out with any assistance they might need if we realize in a lot of cases people can't get into City Hall to see us during regular business hours, so we're trying to go to the various areas throughout town to meet people where they are. So we've seen attendance at each one get a little better, so we're hoping for an even better turnout this month, again at Fallen Heroes Park. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, well, I guess we can call this meeting closed at 5 p.m.